This is the podcast to help you grow to become a better leader, manager, and a better communicator. Growth, innovative thoughts and ideas, and taking inspired action are celebrated here. These are the enjoyed successes and the endured failures. It's time to grow yourself and the people around you. Welcome to the Leadership Toolkit, hosted by Mike Phillips.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for another episode of the Leadership Toolkit. This is your definitive leadership growth podcast. It's an opportunity to tune in and sometimes be a fly on the wall, sometimes be right in the midst of it, to listen and learn from other leaders from all different verticals of business, all different areas all over the world. And you can learn their successes. We talk about when maybe they hit a wall, we learn from their failures. And so that you don't have to experience the same things, or if it's the wins, then certainly we want you to experience the same things. Today is no exception. I've got an absolutely phenomenal guest. He comes right on, man, his energy, his smile. I just absolutely love it. Andrew Wittman, Dr. Andrew Wittman, who is a former Marine. He's a police officer, a federal agent. He's turned into a resilience coach. Let's talk about that and some inner armor. That's coming soon to a podcast near you, this one. And so he coaches executives, he coaches elite teams, he coaches leadership. And I am really honored and blessed to have Andrew Wittman on my show today. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in or to be with me, be a guest on the Leadership Toolkit.
Mighty Mike, thanks for having me, man. Good times,
Absolutely.
bro. Good times. Woo!
Well, I
love
right
the ring of fire in the beginning, but I'm like, I'm inside the ring of trust. It's so great.
It's awesome, man. So, hey, I always like to start off with, you do your best intros. Like I said, you've got such a phenomenal background. If you would spend a few minutes, just give us that elevator pitch. Share with us some of your background and history, how you got started, where you moved in, maybe through the Marines and some of these other agencies, and on into business and coaching people to be absolute badasses.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a great run. I mean, my mom and dad were missionaries. I was a missionary's kid, brought up in Australia, a little town called Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, halfway between Sydney and Melbourne. And I was the fat kid in high school, and I got bullied a lot. And as a missionary's kid, can't fight back. And the Australians are really good with nicknames. I was 5'3" and 185 pounds, and so they called me Beach Ball because I was as round as I was high. But I don't want to live my life in fear and anxiety. And as I told you, I was supposed to go to like Bible college and go into the ministry, and I just didn't want to live my life in fear and anxiety. So I enlisted in the Marine Corps, came home, graduated high school, enlisted in the Marine Corps. Spent 6 years in the infantry. I was in Desert Storm, combat operations in the Republic of Panama. We did some counterterrorism in Honduras, the Philippines. I may or may not have been in Colombia. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
Okay. All right. We might talk about it.
We might talk about it. And then I got out of the Marine Corps, and I did go to Bible college, and I just wasn't ready to get into the pulpit. So I was missing my regimented lifestyle. And so I went into law enforcement. I was a sheriff's deputy in Spartanburg County, South Carolina. And my wife became pregnant with our first, and she was like, baby, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, sugar, that's great, but you're making 65% of our income,
Right.
So I put it on my federal applications because they pay more, right? So it was all the alphabet soup, and the agency, which I'd never even heard of, picked me up, was the United States Capitol Police, which now we've heard of them. But back in the day, I was like, I don't want, that's Metropolitan, but it's not. Metropolitan's different than the U.S. Capitol Police just does, Mike, the same thing that Secret Service does. They just do it for the House and the Senate.
Sure.
So my great claim to fame there is I became a federal agent, and I was the agent in charge of Nancy Pelosi's detail. I was Joe Lieberman's lead advance. I worked on Hillary Clinton's detail during the anthrax attacks, some heads of state, and Sir Elton John. We don't want to leave him out. And then I left there. I pastored a church for 5 years. And when the financial crash hit in like 2008, this is like insider stuff. I never talk about this. But the financial crash hit, and I was like, these people lost their jobs. People are losing their houses. I'm like, I got to go back to work. I can't ask these people to, stroke tithe checks.
Right.
Right. I'm like, I took a midnight security job at a chemical plant. My wife was waiting tables, and I was still pastoring the church. And finally I was like, yeah, my wife's like, how long are we to do this? I'm like, well, I can fix it tomorrow. You just got to be ready for me to go away. So I made a couple phone calls and was on my way to Afghanistan for the State Department. doing high threat diplomatic security, did 4 tours there, came back as a subject matter expert and created this curriculum we were taking SEALs, Marines, Rangers, and Special Forces guys. We want their hard military skills, but we're putting them in a law enforcement type mission, a diplomatic mission. So we had to teach them critical thinking and emotional intelligence. It wasn't just point and shoot, right? So it was more, I have to be able to articulate why I'm taking the action that I'm taking. So I created this curriculum and, did another deployment to Jordan, one to Kosovo. And I thought, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm getting tired of getting shot at for a living. I could probably take this curriculum and teach it to corporate. And so that's what we did. And in 2013, I started the Mental Toughness Training Center and, gangbusters from there. So that's it, man. We're up to speed. You're up to date now.
All right. So we went Mental Toughness Training Center. We've now got, so is that still the Get Warrior Tough?
Yeah. The Get Warrior Tough program. That was our flagship program. Get Warrior Tough, Ground Zero Leadership, is that mental toughness, emotional intelligence and critical thinking. Inner Armor, it was our new iteration that happened after I wrote the parenting book, and it went to like #1, and I was on like the Today Show and Fox and Friends and all this, right? So I got a phone call from the chaplain of the Marine Corps, and the commandant was like, hey, we got a problem with PTSD and suicide rates, and everything we're doing, the needle's not moving, not the drugs, not the counseling, nothing they're doing. See if this guy could do something for us. And they called it the spiritual fitness of the warfighter. I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what I do. So we created this Inner Armor, which is spiritual fitness of the warfighter. That's what they asked for. And as an enlisted Marine, I went back and, I'm still dialed into the network, went back and talked to my, officers, enlisted guys, senior enlisted guys. They don't have time to sit through an hour class or an 8-hour class, and they're going to forget about it at the end of the day anyway. So we created Inner Armor Perpetual Resilience as kind of a workout of the day. So it'd be like a 2 or 3 minute kind of like this mental workout, mental and emotional workout, mental toughness workout you could do, make it part of your daily routine and habit stacking. So that's what we did. We created this app. And then, like last year I was like, I need to get this out. And I put it in this book form. So that's what the book Inner Armor came out last year. I put it out so everybody could get it. And it's the book's easy to read. It's not like, this really, you're going to take it. It's almost like a devotional, right? You're going to take it and here's the workout of the day. And you do that drill for, 7 days or 30 days or, and it gives you the instructions in the book. And, and it's almost like magic that this resilience, you start to build it because I've studied how does the machine work? How does the body, mind, and emotions work together, but really, or against each other, which is usually what happens. But I wanted to get everything to work together so we could have a better life instead of, it's just a jungle up there and a struggle. And so that's kind of where the Inner Armor piece came in. So
I want to jump in here on a couple things because where we're talking about like, hey, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, mental toughness. There's a lot of things and a lot of probably like definitions that would be associated with that. But that's something that's really hard to measure. So how do you end up with, because right now you're still coaching, you're teaching resilience, you're teaching this to like executives, CEOs, individuals. I'm assuming individuals come to you for this, or do you
they can. I mean, it's at this point in my career, I'm very selective whether I teach it on grand or individual. You got to go through a bunch of hoops before you're going to get to me, and I'm going to put my time into you. At this point in my career, back in the day, I would just, I'm like slinging it to everybody, right? And you're hoping everybody gets it. This is like there was my kids watched this movie. It was called Ratatouille. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like,
I'm familiar.
So like anybody can cook, but everybody shouldn't cook, right? So resilience is for everybody, but it isn't for anybody, right? There's specific people that will take what these principles and they'll actually run with them, which is only like 1% of the population. So I'm very selective now. I'm 58, pushing 59. I've been doing this for 30 years, 40 years. I went to boot camp 40 years ago. I'm very selective who I actually pour into this now, right? So, but and I don't mean it to sound mean. It's just like you're just throwing so much mud against the wall and none of it's sticking because there's very few people. And it's the ones that will keep coming after you, right? They'll be like, they just, you tell them no, and then they're back. And then you tell them no, and then they're back. And then, so you're looking for that type of person. That's the person I'm looking for to pour these things into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking about the mental piece, perpetual resilience, and you're talking about people coming back, well, first off, let's define a few of these things if I can. Yeah. When you're saying, okay, well, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, mental toughness, perpetual resilience, how do you where do you start? Like when you
Okay,
start working with somebody, or you
Yeah.
start working with an organization, and because like you said, okay, anybody can come to you, but not everybody gets to participate. So where do you start? If I'm
the
listening
first thing
right
I do,
now?
right? The first thing I do is I ask you to suspend your can you suspend your disbelief? Right. So, and the people are like, what? I'm like, well, have you ever watched a TV show or movie that you liked? And if the answer is yes, then you've suspended your disbelief because you know that's not real. Even the ones that are like based on a true story or Hollywooded up. Right. So I'll ask, can you suspend your disbelief for just 2 minutes? I'm not as good as a movie. I'm not highly produced, but could you give me 2 minutes? Because, and I lay that as the first piece, because I'm going to say things, even Mike, when I'm going to say things here that your inside voice, your inner voice is going to be like, that's crazy talk, Andrew. That won't work. That's impossible. Well, when you hear that voice of resistance, could you just give me the 2 minutes? Suspend your disbelief that it won't work. I'm like, I'm not saying it will or won't. I'm just saying for fantasy, could you play along for just 2 minutes? And if it were possible that this would work, how would it work? Right. So what we're doing, I'm doing an end run around all your, really it's all the baggage that you come with your worldview, that you've been trained, that you don't even know that you've been trained from society or from your parents, from your little league coaches. And it's all stuff that blocks out this resilience. We've all been trained since we were kids here's we get to that point, and then I'm going to tell you how the brain works. So the brain takes in 11 million bits of information per second. So while you're sitting here talking, listening to us or watching us, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, you're sucking in broadband amounts of information, but only 126 bits go to your conscious mind for action. So you're actually, you're sucking up broadband speed, but you're living your life on dial-up speed or the fax machine, right? That's the download that we're getting. Okay. So when we found this out basically in the last 15 years, and now it's getting real. When we first started looking at this, we didn't know how this stuff works, but now we're getting good at it, where we're getting studies and more information, more data every day. But how do we pick the 126 is really the question, right? So, and what we found out through fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, was that how our cognitive processing works is that it's what our attitude is, it's what our opinion is, it's what our beliefs are, it's what our cultural background is, it's our worldview, it's the lens we look at. Not rose color. If it's rose colored, it'll change how you filter your information. If you think today's an awful day, your brain will go find the 126 out of that 11 million, and it will discard 99% of all the information and find the exact 126 bits that prove today is an awful day. And it'll always back your genius self. If you think it's awful, it's going to find awful. If you think it's great, it's going to find great. If you think something's bad news, it's going to find all the things that are bad news. If you say, man, that's great news, it's going to find all the things that are great news out of that 11 million bits, because we're only going to act consciously on 126. So in psychology, they call it confirmation bias. So that's where we're going to start. Right. We have to understand, how does the machine work? And then I ask this question: is your 126 helping you or hurting you? Like, if you're pointing in a direction, does it help you or does it hurt you? Right. So that's really, and it goes everywhere across the board. And this is the beginning of critical thinking. Not critical as in people like, what's critical? It's not like, oh, I don't like your perfume. I'm being critical of somebody. What I'm doing is, it's logic, right? I'm using evidence-based information to make decisions, and I'm putting it in an order so that it helps me, instead of it's helter-skelter jungle. I just pick, it's just bits and pieces, and hopefully something will work out good. Are you right? So
I'm with you. So, and you said it processes how many millions? Did you say 16 million or 11?
11 million. 11 million.
Bits. Yeah. Okay. So 11 million bits, and I got to determine the 126.
Yeah. And that's high. It goes all the way down to 40, but I like to give us the benefit of the doubt.
I appreciate that. I probably need the benefit of the doubt. So the interesting thing is, that's why, and I was sharing beforehand, like, came up in the auto industry, right? Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right? You're going to steer to the things that are affecting you. And the crazy thing is, it's the things that are affecting you in the moment. You can have two people in business standing directly side by side with the same external inputs, is what I'm hearing you say. Yes. Same external inputs, and you ask one person, hey, how's it going? Are you busy or anything? And they're like, ah, man, there's nothing going on. It's so dead. I don't see anything, because that's what they're processing. You ask the other person, they're like, oh my gosh, everything's great. And it's so overwhelming, right? So that's sort of what I'm hearing. So then the question becomes, if I have somebody, and let's say that they're watching or listening to this show right now, first step, I imagine I should have put this in the banners. I'll make sure and put this in the links. Do you start to teach more of this in your Inner Armor Perpetual Resilience book? Is there a like a process that goes along with this, or how does this line that out for me?
Yeah, it goes chapter by chapter. I build on it. Yeah, build on it.
Okay.
Right. And I'm very line by line, precept by precept. I'm going to get foundational. I want to get to the cellular level of something, and then we'll build on it. So at the beginning, I'm ripping a Band-Aid off because we have to get all the way down to the bottom, of how this machine works and how it's been, really, I mean, our machine, our body, mind, and emotions have been like tricking us or lying to us or telling us the wrong thing, right? So that's another piece that I get to, CEO of you. Your job as the CEO of You Incorporated is to get your board of directors to act in concert. And your board of directors is your body, mind, and emotions. So I asked Mike, when you have a boardroom decision, who usually wins the vote, body, mind, or emotions? Right. So
do you want an answer to that?
No, you don't have to, because I'm
going to say who wins the fight. Usually in the moment, it's going to be emotions.
Right. But who should be running the boardroom is the mind.
Correct.
And there's 3 votes in the boardroom, and the body is the swing vote, because the mind and the emotions are like State Department and Department of Defense. They have opposite missions in life. They're never going to, they're diametrically opposed. So the body is the swing vote. That's why when we talk about mental toughness, people immediately think of like athletes or first responders or military, because there's a physical element to their careers. And what it is they're dominating their body. They're making their body do things whether they feel like it or not. So this is the beginning, is do you dominate your flesh? Can you dominate your body? Right? We already know the spirit is willing, but the flesh is, just shout it out when it's weak, right? The flesh is weak,
yeah.
Right? The body. But that's people, they don't understand that's the easiest part of our being to dominate. Your emotions are extremely difficult to dominate. If you don't dominate your body, you'll never get your emotions to be in their place. And the mind will never be running the boardroom, right? So that's the first step, is to dominate your body.
So let me ask you a couple of questions then. I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. When you're talking about suspending disbelief and you're talking about the movie, because I think for many people that really, and you said it, that's where it starts. Can you give me an example? Something that you say that people are like, no, that's hokey. I don't agree with you. Can you give me some sort of example as to what disbelief or what belief would I have to suspend to get on the same page?
The belief that
just bring it.
It's mental toughness, man.
Okay.
If you're overweight, the belief that it's like, I'll start tomorrow, or it's this, it's that, it's everything but me. It's any other excuse that I have. It's the lifestyle, it's the food we're eating, it's big pharma, it's big food, all the things, right? And it's all just lies, because it's your body. Whose body is it? So you have to suspend your disbelief and understand, I'm 100% responsible for my body, my mind, and my emotions. They're mine. No one else has any responsibility for it. And if you want to, a lot of people want to play the victim card, or it's an excuse, or leave a back door. Like, you're going to have to shut every escape hatch. And that's the beginning of this. If you really want your mind to run the boardroom, then you've got to start with dominating your body. And a lot of us, we stopped dominating our flesh after we got potty trained. Like, that was the last time that we dominated our flesh. And I'll just give you a story about this, right? So I lost 50 pounds in boot camp, man.
Okay.
50 pounds. And I hated running more than anything I hated in the world. More than running was more running. And that's what you do in the Marine Corps. And I'm in the infantry. And I was falling out in runs. I was falling behind. And you're not a good Marine if they have to come back and pick you up and you can't keep up with. So I would run at night extra. So you get up in the morning, you run your 4 or 5 miles with the platoon, boots and utes and flak jackets and all that. Then at night, I'm exhausted. And my body would say, we're tired. And I'd be like, this one day, I said, you know what? We're running 5 miles tonight. And if you don't shut up, we're going to run 10. My body's like, man, we're not running no 10. And I made myself run 10 miles. My blisters had blisters. It took like 40 minutes for the fat on my legs to quit jiggling. After I got back, I was so exhausted, but that was the last time my body, they were like, oh, he's serious. That was the last time my body said what we're doing. And I go to bed when I say we're going to bed. I sleep when we're going to sleep, and I wake up when I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I wake up when I say we're going to wake up. And I don't eat just because I'm hungry. I don't eat because what I want to eat. Like, my body be like, well, I like pizza. You think I don't like pizza? Of course I like pizza. If you talk about pizza one more time, you'll never get it again. Test me and see. Like, this is how you have to talk to your body in order to take control of it. And people were like, that's crazy, Andrew. I would never do that. You're just a freak of nature. No, I'm not. I was the fat kid who was named Beach Ball.
Well, it's just crazy. Like, forgive me for the pause,
Yeah, no.
because I just sit here and I'm listening, and I actually really admire the way you speak, and the way that you're talking about, okay, well, mind, body, emotions, and so forth. The one thing that I hear right out of the gate, and I encourage people always, hey, if you're going to listen to a podcast, listen with a pen in your hand, because you got to write stuff down when it's important.
Right.
And that's why I sit here. Lots of times I'll break eye contact and people go, you look disinterested. I'm like, no, I'm trying to write questions down.
I'm watching you. I'm like, you're like taking it in, man.
Yeah. No. So one thing that I hear that is very unique, and for anybody that is in management leadership, if you're a CEO, it's so easy to fall out of controlling your body and mind, fall into emotions because you're too busy and you allow time to give you this false excuse.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about what you're saying, what you're preaching, I'm sitting over here going, preach, Andrew, preach,
right.
is there is a physical element to it. I've had lots of shows, and I've had some phenomenal shows, phenomenal guests, and people that I go through and I've talked to. One thing that is very unique about what you're sharing is you're leaning in that it's like, okay, well, it's not just the mind, it's not just the emotions, it's not just the power of positive affirmation, right? Oh, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, right,
there is a physical component that you're like, okay,
correct.
well, you have to get moving. You got to take action. If you're not taking action, then nothing's happening. And so it starts with you. Sorry, jump in.
No, I'm going to, well, I'm going to even take it even higher. It's like, this is, and write this down. You cannot fight your biology. That's why willpower will not work. You can't fight your hormones. If you don't know how the body works and how the hormones work, because what the hormones do, hormones are drugs, right? And what it does is it sustains your response. So I call it the hormone dump. It's designed, your endocrine system is designed to sustain your response for at least 20 minutes. So, and a lot of us keep tricking this same response over and over again. Our clock's running, and it's not the correct response. So think about this. Have you ever been in a near car wreck where like horns were honked, brakes were slammed, but nobody actually got hit? Oh my gosh.
More than once. Yeah.
Right. So that happens. Logically, everything is good and everyone is safe. And then like seconds later, like 10 seconds later, then your heart starts pounding and you feel sick to your stomach for the next half hour. Does that happen to you?
Sure.
That's the hormone dump. So you just perceived, oh my gosh, that was like a life-threatening situation. Even though now it's over, you already perceived that. So the way the brain works, it's the neurotransmitters, it fires off, and the neurotransmitters are a piece of chemical. It's a little tiny droplet of the hormone that it's going to call up. So if you think that this is a fight, flight, or freeze, it's going to find the fight, flight, or freeze hormone, the adrenaline dump. And so you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, so now it floods your system. So this also happens if you have like the knockdown drag out with your spouse, right? And you're screaming and yelling. And every time then they start again, then you're just re-hitting the hormone dump over and over again. So, listen, you cannot be rational. The mind cannot run the boardroom during that hormone dump. It's impossible. It's like an emotional seizure. And I talked about, like, if you've ever seen someone who's epileptic and they're having a seizure, all we do is keep them safe. We don't try to reason with them. We don't try to stop the seizure. We keep them safe till it runs its course. This is the same thing when the hormone dump happens. You have this emotional seizure. You can't reason with anybody at that state. And you need to realize it yourself. If you've hormone dumped, you need to go in a padded room for 20 minutes, somewhere where it's away from everybody. Take a break, 20 minutes, let it get out of your system, at least 20, and then you can come back to it. And if you notice that somebody else has had the hormone dump, as a leader, I know my team is hormone dumping because 2 people got into it on the team. I need to separate them, and everybody just needs to take a time out until the hormones leave our systems, and then we can reason with each other. But until then, there's no reasoning. So you can't fight your biology.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think so often I've been in the room with leaders like this. You probably have, where you'll have whatever that conflict is, that work conflict, right? And these 2 people are doing this thing, and they're going over and over. And then the leader comes in and views themselves. They go, oh yeah, I'm always fighting these fires. These guys are going at this. Well, and it's because they're jumping in and they're saying, hey, let's solve this right now. Okay, let's figure this out. Instead of saying, hey, just step away. Let cooler heads prevail is sort of what I'm hearing you say, right?
Right. Let it all get out of our systems. And then when it's the emotional, because that's all emotions are. Here's what your emotions are. The emotions are a chemical reaction to how you perceive your inputs. That's all it is. So And I'm giving you extreme examples, but it could happen by just laying on the couch. I'm tired. That's an emotional, and then then your body says, oh, and your mind, oh, we're tired. So it's the 11 million bits, the 126, the neurotransmitters fire off, and we find all the cortisol hormones that make us soft and squishy on the couch. We're tired. Right. So,
wait,
and again,
that's a whole nother conversation. How do I get rid of the cortisol hormones? Not, this is a personal question. I'm just...
Right. No, well, that's, I mean, so, because I had the radio show, Dutch and I did the call-in radio show, Get Warrior Tough, for years. One of the shows was on that testosterone versus cortisol. So cortisol makes you soft. Testosterone makes you confident and hard. And whether you're a man or a woman, you need testosterone because it's the winning hormone, right? So you need to do the things that increase your testosterone. And again, like losing weight is not about calories in or out. I said this like 20 years ago. People thought I was insane. It's hormonal. Nutrition is hormonal. It's not calories in, calories out. That's why you're on the yo-yo and it doesn't work, because you're not fixing your hormone problem, right? So you can't fight your biology. So you have to figure out, how am I eating right? Do I need to eat right, sleep right? Do these things that help my hormones. When you balance your hormones, and look, it's not a quick fix. Your hormones have been erect for like 10 years or more, right? So it's not going to fix in 10 minutes, man. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the mental toughness piece. I got to be consistent. Do you see why I say I'm very selective about who we actually, train, because you're just going to be like, this guy's insane. I can't do any of that. And you're just going to click off and walk off.
So if you're okay, so let's say you do have somebody that you're training, just give people the insight into that, and just a peek behind the curtain. You have somebody that you're training. You start off, okay, I'm squishy, I'm ready. Andrew, right. I need all the things. I need the inner armor. I need more resilience. I got to get rid of the cortisol. I want to be a better leader. Where do you like?
And you're going to do it. You're going to do that for like, your body be like, okay. And for maybe 3 weeks at the most. And then your body be like, he ain't serious about this. Just let it run its course for like 3 weeks. So really around the 3 week mark is when it, like, the rubber hits the road, and then you're going to be mad at me and you're going to be like, I quit. I can't do it. And, here's just an example. One lady, she wanted to go to her 10-year high school reunion, and she saw a guy on Facebook that they were sweethearts. Oh, sure. She just broke up and he broke up. And anyway, he wants to see a 10-year reunion, but she's like 50 pounds overweight now. So, and she wants to and now we've got 3 months to get this done or whatever, or maybe it was 6. It wasn't a lot of time.
Sure.
And she wants me to make her a supermodel, but it's not so look, man, this isn't a quick fix. We're changing core beliefs under the hood. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm like, we could do it, but you're going to have to do everything that I say. And you don't even believe me. What you have to do is borrow my belief. So we didn't have enough time for her to build her own belief system. What I had to do, this is behind the curtain, right? So the first 6 months, until she could build her own belief in what I'm telling her to do, she just has to borrow mine. Just trust that I can do.
That's biblical, right?
Right.
That's how Jesus healed people because of their friends' beliefs. So it's the same thing.
So you're going to borrow my belief until you could get it. Right. So she did. She would be on this thing, and she's like, call me up and be like, I want pizza. You think I don't want pizza? Of course I want pizza. Then I'd be like, now I'm going to hit her up with like, hey, yeah, are you not going to the high school reunion? She's like, well, yeah, I'm going. I'm like, and she had this red dress she put. I'm like, are you not going in that dress? You got a different dress. No, I'm going to that dress. I'm like, he found somebody else already? He found out he hooked up? No. I'm like, then why are we having this conversation? Because all the things you told me on the front end of why we're doing this, you're still doing it. So you're like, okay, I'm going to have a salad. Okay, good. So then as we get into this thing, we start doing the emotional. I'm going to get on the scale and see how I'm doing. Very, very bad idea. We're not going to be results oriented. We're going to be process oriented. Just do the process I'm telling you to do. The results will take care of themselves. Stop looking at the scoreboard. She would get on the scale. So this is what would happen. I get on the scale and I lost 2 pounds. I feel great. So now I can cheat. No,
you get a cheat day. You get a cheat day, right?
So then after that, then it went up 2 pounds, and now I feel this horrible, and none of this is working. I might as well just go eat some Twinkies and ice cream because it's not working anyway. So either way, I'm getting the excuse of going back to my old habits. So I took away the scale. I'm like, give me the scale. You're not even going to look at it for the next 6 months. Just do what I tell you to do. Don't worry about the scale. And and that was, I want to say that was like 2015 or 2016. I mean, and she lost all that weight. She's down, she went to like whatever, she was like 250 and now she's like size 4. And also she came to me, here's another thing. She wanted to stop drinking and stop smoking at the same time she wanted to lose weight. I'm like, well, we're not going to do all 3. You can't. You're going to say I can do all 3. And 2 days from now, it's going to be so overwhelming. You're going to do none of it. Right. So, and that's what our people do. They do too much at one time. So we do one thing. I mean, I didn't even have her like changing much. Like, I'm like, you go for a walk tonight and, start eating vegetables. I'm not even taking anything away at this point. Right. So this is the kind of the process. This is behind the curtain stuff, where you have to get down to the cellular level and you have to give yourself some grace. But we want to have in our culture, it's like microwave popcorn. I go through the fast food drive. Everything has to be fast and instant. And now I'm on like Ozempic shots that'll get the weight off that and look, man, if you have to take them, then take them. But what happens when you stop? Like if you're not changing your lifestyle, you don't want to be on that the whole time, and it's doing bad things to your body. I mean, we're seeing it's like the end result. If you're on that thing for 10 years, we don't even know yet. Absolutely. Right. So this is the kind of talk that I'm going to, and it's not, people are like, it's tough love. No, it's actual love. Right. This is actually like love. Like I'm not giving you the warm fuzzy and all that, but hate me on the back end. This is what I always told people, hate me on the back end, because at the backside of this thing, like she's like now 11 years into this, and her life is great. She's not drinking anymore. She's not smoking. She looks fantastic. Her weight's been off for 10 years and she's enjoying everything she does in life. And I only coached her for that 6 months. Does that, you see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that's the lasting result. So I have 2 questions that stem from this, that 3-week mark, because I think that's pivotal. I think it's pivotal when it comes to like the physical training, like you're talking. I think it's pivotal in business. So often in business, we get the flavor of the day, right? Oh, hey, we're going to do this new thing and we're going to go after this and we're all going to win and it's going to be awesome. And then 3 weeks from now, we're like, what was the thing we were doing? Yeah. Or like you'll have management go off to some seminar and they come back with all the ideas, right?
Yeah. The good idea fairy.
Yeah. The good idea fairy shows up. And so at that 3-week mark, your perspective, do you try and save people? If they say, I'm going to quit, I can't do this.
No, in fact, I don't even tell them. Like, I would tell people I'm firing them. Actually, I would fire them before they even got there. When they start making excuses, I'm like, all right, I'm firing you. But you paid me. You're paying my coaching up front. You're not getting any of that money back, but I'm not going to spend any more time on you. That's why I make people pay up front, because they'll do it. It's almost like if you bought tickets to the Super Bowl, even if it's, it's raining, it's, you paid, even if it was $2, you're like, I got these tickets. I'm not going to let them go to waste. Sure. Right. So I'm going to make you pay for your coaching up front. And then I'll be like, and I fired people. Like I've had a CEO, like he wouldn't go do his, I'm like, you have to write down everything you put in your mouth. You have to write down every sip of water or tea. You're going to have to write down how many steps you take. You got to write down when you wake up and when you go to bed. Well, I'm not doing all that. Well, I'm not coaching you. Right. So like, you knew that's what it was when we signed up, and now you're 3 weeks into this and you're tired of doing it. You're fired. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm not coaching you anmore. You're done.
So do you let people save themselves then?
Yes. I had one lady that she was, we were working together and she came to me and of course, now I don't know this on the front end originally, but she's an alcoholic, like not even just functioning. She's full on alcoholic. But she's here for weight problems or whatever, or marriage or whatever, any of those, but she doesn't want to deal with that problem first. So once I find out, like when I'm 2 weeks into it and I find out, I'm like, well, here's the deal. You're going to have to go to a meeting because I'm not set up to do that. You're going to have to, and we're not even in the same state. I mean, I've never even met this lady face to face yet.
Right.
Ever. Right. So I'm like, you got to go to a meeting and you're going to have to send a picture with like the news back that thing, because the big timestamp, but the picture of the newspaper or whatever in front of the thing at the meeting. And every night, if I don't get that picture, you're done. Like I better get 7 of those in a day, because the next coaching call comes. We're done if we don't do it. There's all the, the lying and the, it's all the stuff that addicts do. And it's like, they don't even realize they're doing it. But anyway, we got through that. She's been like 9 years sober, whatever. Just awesome. Everything's good. Weight's back to, everything's good. Everything is good. Career's banging, relationships are good. But somebody had to be able to sit there and tell her, look, I'm not like, if you want, I don't care. Cause I told her, I'm like, look, my life is great. This stuff works for me. I know it works for me, but if it doesn't work for me, like my kids are awesome. My wife's awesome. We have a great life. If you don't want that, I'm not going to waste my time and drag you across the finish line. I'm not going to like try and talk you into having a good life. And there's also another thing that Jesus, he never followed after the rich young ruler when he left. He's like, what a way said. He's like, well, see ya. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I'm not going to chase you down to have good in your life. If you don't want it, I'm not going, I mean, there's other people that do want it that I could help. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yep. No, absolutely. It's like the comment you just made it. And I've seen it said even recently where it's like, hey, Jesus sat with sinners. He didn't follow them.
Correct.
And so another question I want to dive into here, because I think this is very important for business. I think this was when you were talking about the scale and you're talking about process versus results, let's apply that to business, because I come from the automotive world where all we're
always the numbers, man.
Result, right? You're from zero to hero. Oh, I'm selling all these cars or widgets or product or whatever. And at the end of the month, then everything resets and I'm a zero again and so forth. And we are so in many businesses, so results driven.
Right.
How do you coach somebody to make that shift? And what's the recommendation? How can you relate that to the business environment?
Yeah, when we do all the time, but it's got to start at the top, right? You have to start like the C-suite has to buy in first. Because if there's still results, they're still looking at their metrics. It doesn't matter what you do on your level. They're not going to change. It's going to be results driven, metrics driven. And I'm not saying that, listen, I measure everything in my life, dude. I measure everything, every calorie, every minute of sleep. I mean, I measure how many, and this is my wife like makes fun of me, but like if I'm laying out, because I'm a professional tanner, as you can see, when I lay out, I'm at 35 minutes on one side and 35 minutes on the other side. I set the timer, and it's not like it's 34 minutes and 28 seconds. No, we go to the whole thing. I set the timer. We're going. So I listen, but that's part of my process. That's not my result. The result is I get a good even tan. Do you follow this? Right. So I'm going to use the metrics to tweak my process. It has nothing to do with my results. The results should come if I have a good process. If my process is producing, then I just need to focus on doing the process.
What if the process isn't producing?
Then you need to tweak it. That you got the wrong process. No, if you're in the automotive, you're like sales. I love it, right? It's car sales.
Let's talk about car sales.
You take the guy that's number one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think about this, but that guy has a process.
Absolutely.
And the process he does, you want the results of that process, but you don't want to do the hard thing of him like Snapchatting. He spends 20 minutes every morning Snapchatting happy birthday to every customer he's had in the last 30 years.
Well, salespeople in general aren't wired to do, like, they want to be in front of somebody. Oh, I want to be sitting here having this conversation. But the ones that do the best are the ones that do the mundane things and are like, okay, I'm going to make 45 crappy phone calls to get people to call me back, or Snapchats or Instagrams or messengers.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, they have a process of it's a touch. So find out what those guys, that's the process that works. Like, you don't even have to reinvent this thing. All you have to do is just go look at who's the number one guy. And this is what I do. Like, this is my cheat code. It's with fitness and everything, right? I find the person that's where I want to be, whether it's and you don't have to have the one mentor for everything. I told my kids this. You got to pick, like, if you want somebody who has a great marriage, that's your mentor for marriage. They're probably not good at, like, business, or they're probably not good at whatever. So so I look at, like, if you want to be a fitness model, find the guy or the girl you want to look like and then do their process. I'm not going to do a process that takes me to look like something I like. I'm not trying to be like The Rock, right? Big and huge and and all muscled up. I'm not, so I don't follow his workout plan and his nutrition plan. I would rather be like the David Hasselhoff guy on Baywatch, right? So I'm going to do that plan. I'm just using, I'm just making up.
I mean, no, it's a fit. You're in Florida, right? You're like, I'm tanning 35 minutes each side.
Right. I need to look beach ready. I'm not trying to look like I'm, a Muscle Beach. I'm like, so, but it's same thing with like sales. I do the same thing. Like, so, whether it's keynote speaking or it's, whatever your leadership, I have a leadership mentor, man. And they, and I have a speaking mentor. I have a media mentor. I have a writing mentor. So I have people that I follow. Like, I'm just like follow on Facebook. I mean, that I'm like, I try to get into their space. And even if it costs me money, like, how you get in a room with Nick Saban, you pay $5,000 at his, whatever his charity event is. And that's how you get in a room with them. Right. So, but people wouldn't want to do that either. And that's why I say, suspend your disbelief, because it'd be like, I'm not paying that. Well, then you're not going to get the results that that he would have, because you're not trying to get in his space. Are you following that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you don't have the conversation with him. And I love it. I think it's super valuable. So often we'll talk on this show, people will talk about mentors. And I think there's a few points that I've discussed over the years where people say, yeah, I've got, 5 mentors. I got one for spirituality. I got one for my marriage. I got one for my finances. I got one for business or whatever. And I think your approach is unique compared to many people I've talked to. You're like, look, just get one for everything. If they're good at the thing that you want, go do that. Find them, have the conversation, do their process.
It's the shortcut, dude. It's the hack. If you're always looking for the hack, that's it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They already did it.
It's the Tony Robbins statement of, hey, success leaves clues, right? Copy.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even clues. It's like they just did it. Here's your process. I mean, and in this information age, you literally can follow the process of anybody with all the social media and all the stuff that's out there.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse for not finding a process that works.
So a couple things.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
No. I was just, if one person could do it, anybody could do it. If it's already been done, it can be done. We're not even breaking
the 4-minute mile.
Correct.
4-minute mile.
It's not even, what I'm saying? Like, it is a 4-minute mile.
Well, the 4-minute mile, like the reason I'm saying that is what was Roger Bannister, I think is the guy's name, broke the 4-minute mile the first time. And it was like, nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. All of a sudden he breaks it. And then the following year, 13 more people do it. And the following year, 200 people do it. And it's like you're saying, if one person can do it, anybody can do it. You make that process repeatable.
100%, dude.
So a couple things, because we got into talking, and I've had this on the screen several times, but I want to verbalize it. So in case people are not watching the show, maybe you're listening to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, a couple ways to connect with Andrew. You can go to getwarriortough.com. It's GETWARRIORTOUGH, Get Warrior Tough, all one word.com. So you can check that out to connect with him. I'm sure book speaking, check out his book, Inner Armor, Perpetual Resilience. That's the latest one, right? Inner Armor, Perpetual Resilience. We've had a lot of conversation on that. Also, you could connect with him one-on-one. Hey, if you want to watch what he does, connect with the guy we're talking to right now, linkedin.com/n/Andrew-D-Wittman, Wittman. So you could connect with him there. I always encourage people, if you're going to connect with a guest or connect with someone like that, send them a little note and tell them why. Don't just be the random weirdo that says, oh, hey, they look cool. I saw you in a podcast, and so we should connect. Like tell them why you're looking, because I have to imagine, just based on our conversation, Andrew, if people reach out to you and they're like, hey, look, man, I just want to watch online and get your process and watch on YouTube and do all that stuff. You're like, hey, I'm on board, man. Right.
Yeah, no, there's no fence around me, Alex. There's no fence around me. I connect with anybody because that's what I do. And here's the thing, man. I'm like, how they say your greatest strength is like your greatest weakness?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm intense. It's intense in here. You're going to be like Icarus. If you could fly to the sun and not get your wings burned, everybody's welcome in the inner circle. Most people don't stay very long, but I let everybody in, to the inner circle.
I love that statement. Yeah. So as we come to the tail end, just any final thoughts, anything that we missed on? I will say this again, and I would encourage anybody, go to the website, go to getwarriortough.com, get Andrew's book, Inner Armor, Perpetual Resilience. I need to go get myself a copy. I have loved this conversation. You're
so much fun, man.
No, you're fun to talk to. You're great to talk to. You bring the heat. You bring a lot of really valuable information, and you speak it in a way that it's not hard to understand. That's one of the things that's nice. You're like, hey, this might be uncomfortable, but it's not hard to get it. So any final thoughts?
I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I'm like, just show me. I'm like, simple, just make it, keep your eye on the ball. All right, then I'll be a ping pong champion. Gump, why'd you put this rifle together? So you told me to. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I live. I'm the Forrest Gump of this stuff, man.
I love it. Yeah. Any final thoughts as we're closing up today?
No, I mean, I totally appreciate you having me on, Mike. This has been a blast. I love being in your space, dude. Thank you for doing this labor of love on the podcast.
Absolutely.
This is just, what you're doing, all of us kind of feel like, and I just going to encourage you for a minute. This is right. A lot of times we do this stuff and you feel like there's just so much noise out there, right? You know what I mean? Like, is it helping anybody? You're helping people, Mike. I'm telling you, right? Don't be encouraged. It's not noise. You're helping people. And I love that you do the live thing. There's not very many people that would do, they like to edit stuff and all that. And I love what you're doing. And I want to thank you for having me on. And I just encourage you to keep on keeping on, brother.
I appreciate that. And, definitely needed that encouragement today. You can ask my wife. We're having conversations about the show even today. So I appreciate that.
No, I get it, man. I mean, you're like, is it doing anything? Listen, if nothing else, every show that you put it as a legacy for your kids. Absolutely. That they could go back and look at it, and you're teaching all your knowledge. Think of it as like a journal for your kids and your grandkids. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
if nothing else, I would do it just, that's the labor of love, right? That's a lot of what I do is for my kids, man. And everybody else gets to enjoy it.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if you would hang out for just a minute, I'm going to take us out. All right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to a close. What a great show with Andrew Wittman. I mean, just a wealth of info. I love his perspective on just being resilient, on controlling the inputs to your body, where he's talking about, mind, body, emotion. He's like, look, you got to tell it what to do. And I think it's funny because he's sitting here saying, well, you might be a little bit crazy or what are people thinking? And it's like, there is so much value in that. And I'm telling you, a couple things I always ask on this show. One, help the show grow. Please throw some thumbs up on it. Share it out in your networks. That's something that it always helps YouTube and Spotify and all these places. It helps the show grow. Most importantly, if you know somebody that needs to hear Andrew's message today, and you're like, man, this person needs to hear it. Maybe it's you. Maybe you need to go back and re-listen, right? But maybe it's somebody in your circle of fire, in your inner circle. Send them this show and just say, hey man, you got to listen to this. It's an awesome conversation, because I think there's so much relevant info when it comes to leadership and first and foremost, just self-leadership, like that you have to take the ownership on yourself, because if you don't do it first, people aren't going to follow you. So thank you everybody for taking the time to tune in and join me today. Appreciate all your time. God bless. Until we speak next, stay great. Talk soon, everybody.